Great. Good day and welcome once again to another episode of Schoolboy Rugby Bonanza, where we talk schoolboy rugby, and once again, schoolboy rugby. It's been a while since our last recording. Our founder, Mr. Louis van Kopenhagen, was a bit under the weather, but he seems to be in better spirits. He's back again. He's healthy again, and that's all that matters.
Yeah,
So let's a warm welcome to our founder, Mr. Louis. How are you doing? How are you doing today?
good on you, Steve. Yeah, I was a bit under the weather, but back on track. And we are ready to go. Yeah, it's going to be a fun episode. It's going to be all about the Craven week. And yeah, let's see what it brings, and we will discuss around it and just give our opinion on what we saw and give or take, and then see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Craven Week has finished about 2 weeks back. It's been an exciting, incredible Craven Week and also an historic one. The first time that a Girls Week was hosted and the first time ever in South African history that we had a girls schools SA schools team selected. So it's absolutely, I am so excited about the future of women's rugby in South Africa, Louis. It's really getting it's really growing. It's really getting to an incredible stage. And to top matters off, the ladies, the SA Springboks ladies team have drew the series with USA,
Yes.
former world champions, which is absolutely incredible. So I am so excited for the futures of women's rugby and girls rugby in general.
Yeah, and I'm very happy for the very first time that the girls got exposure like the boys this year. And I mean, that's just fair in my opinion. So I think going forward, let's hope they will get more exposure as
Absolutely.
the season goes along, gets along, and from next year as well. So
Absolutely.
it's very, very exciting. Very, very.
Yes, let's dive into starting from day one. So, if you've got your coffee with, I've got my coffee. Let's see
Yeah.
how the Craven Week has
Yeah.
unfolded day by day.
Yeah. So day one. So we can see here Boland 39, Leopards 20. I believe you watched this game, right?
Yes, a very exciting match, and it was one way to start off the Craven Week.
Mm.
Arno Jacobs from Boland, the fullback, had an incredible match. He scored
Mhm.
3 tries.
Oh,
Absolutely,
wow.
and I think that was the turning point for the match because it was a very competitive match, very
Mm.
exciting match. But Arno Jacobs turned things matters around with scoring three tries, and his last try was an absolute blinder of a try.
Yeah,
So great way to start off, and Boland absolutely played out of their socks.
okay. Oh, that's good. And also, I think Boland gets a bit overshadowed by Western Province.
Yeah.
So it was a good way to make a statement to show them that they are there, right? Um,
Well, rugby is healthy in Boland right now, Louis. I can really say with the schools, we've seen a couple of the teams.
mhm.
It's really on a healthy stage, and you can also see it rubbing off to the senior team. The senior team has now playing Currie Cup First Division now for the second year, Premier Division. And the senior team has also pulled off a incredible victory over the Blue Bulls on Sunday,
Yes.
3-4
Yes.
team. So rugby in Boland is healthy, strong, and well, and going from strength to
Yeah,
strength.
that's good. Then match number two, uh, Free State 66, Limpopo Blue Bulls 41. Um, Tell us a little bit about this match. I only saw the highlights late in the evening, and what I saw is that the Free State, they just came to play, and they played the socks out of the Limpopo Blue Bulls.
Well, I can tell you it's a bit misleading that score because at one stage the Limpopo Blue Bulls was leading. Now I think first half it was a very close affair. What turned the matters around, there was two standout players for Free
Mm.
State. Mabena, the center,
Yes.
absolutely incredible talent.
Yeah.
He played outstanding. And of course, what more can we say about Mugetsi, the
Yeah.
fullback? That try that he scored,
Mm.
his final try that he scored for the Cheetahs in that match was an absolute incredible match. And I mean, the commentators couldn't speak more highly of him.
Yeah.
I think that was what changed the matters around.
Yeah.
Also, a shout out to the captain of Free State. We had an interview with him, Louis. I think you can remember. Myself, you, and Elaine Hogan.
Yes.
And of course, Arno had an interview with him, Alexi.
Yes.
Outstanding, what a mature player, 18-year-old, but already he's got an incredible head on his shoulders, and he also had an outstanding match as a captain for
Yeah.
the Free State. And I think he was unlucky not to make the SA school teams, if
Yeah,
you ask.
that's exactly what I wanted to say as well, that I think he was snubbed out of the SA school selection because playing for Grey College up until the Craven week, during the Craven week, he has played phenomenal rugby, and that he wasn't selected for the SA schools or even the SA school A side is beneath me. I really I don't understand.
Yeah.
So right. Then this I watched. The Sharks SWD. So, the Sharks actually were their own worst enemies during the Craven week. They had one phenomenal side. We've seen during the course of this season, the Durban schools have really made a stake to claim,
Yeah.
right? The games that I've personally watched during the season, close games, exciting games. And the Sharks had a very good side. Their forwards were phenomenal right through the Craven week, and their defense was absolutely sublime. But,
Yeah.
but what really, where they shot themselves in the foot was their discipline.
Oh,
Because
yes.
almost every game they got players sent off, and this is where they lost their games.
They could have been in the finals, Louis. They really
Yeah,
was, but it was the difference, as you said, was discipline. And we will talk later about, I think, in the game against Western Province.
yeah.
Yeah, let's talk about that later. But that was a turning point for them because that easily could have changed matters around.
Oh,
So
yes.
yeah, discipline plays a huge factor. But nonetheless, they started well against SW 3619, and things at that stage really, really looked promising
Yes,
for the Natal
yes,
Sharks.
yes. And then Western Province 42, Eastern Province 25. And I think the Eastern Province do not take anything away from them. They came out to play. We've seen during
Mm.
the course of this season that the schools that are staking the claim for first, second, and third place within Eastern Province, they are really very close. So I think this is a very good result for them, that they are
It
really
was.
something, right?
I watched that game, Louis. I can tell you, Eastern Province got some amazing players. We all know about Grey School. That's the number
Mm,
one school. And Graham College that's had an absolute incredible couple of seasons, a school of only 350. But
mm,
nonetheless, let's focus on the Craven Week game. This match, they never gave up.
yeah.
They absolutely played until the end. And I think the 17 points doesn't always reflect what happened on the field.
Mm,
There was a brilliant try that scored by one of the EP players, Caleb Doyle. He absolutely scored an incredible try. I actually
mm,
wish we can show footage of that try. It was absolutely amazing.
mm.
And then a huge shout out to the Western Province. I think he was the flyer of Bernardin. He
Yes.
was mentioned a lot in the
Yeah.
Crane Week. He really played outstanding match. And it was what an incredible way to finish off day one. Day one was truly an outstanding first day. And a lot of people complimented this Crane Week. Like the one commentator said, and every year he thinks this is going to be the best Crane Week ever. But then just to get to the next year, and it's an even better Crane Week. And it just shows us day one already showed us that the depth in South Africa is alive and well. And I think Rassi's got a flurry and a stack of players to look at
Mm,
um, for selection for the future. And that's already
yes.
going to knock. I mean,
And
Bagetsi,
and
watch him in the next 2 or 3 years. I think he's going to be a huge factor. We all
yeah,
know about Marcus Miller.
yeah,
Alexi from the Cheetahs, he's going to the Lions Academy team. And then later on, of course, we're going to look at the Lions team. A special individual by the surname of Viljoen that plays fly half.
yeah.
Also a huge prospect. He's going to the Blue Bulls, by the way, for next year.
Yes, yes. So then we have Border and the Falke. Let me just get the score here.
Yeah, it's 36-14.
14, right. Um, then the next one, Griquas 43, Pumas 29. And I think this was also a very good game. I watched most of this game. I was fortunate enough to watch most of this game. And, you can see even with the Currie Cup sides, the Griquas and the Pumas, they are doing much better in the Currie Cup side. And it's all because from school structure. Now they are busy building something. They are busy building towards something. And you can see this. And this was actually a very entertaining game. And the Pumas, I think they were a bit unlucky to lose. They actually played some good rugby, so it was a very exciting game to watch.
Yeah, of course, the Wille Klaver tournament is held at Griquas every single year. The school in Mansveld
Yes.
is always the host of the Wille Klaver. So Griquas, there's a lot of potential, and we
Mm.
all know that they're the Currie Cup champions of last year. But
Mm.
they've got a huge amount of talent. And I think the main thing what we need to know, all the provinces that played at the Craven Week, you can see the scores were competitive. The
Yeah.
biggest problem comes in senior level, comes with the money structure, of course, and capital.
Mm.
Unfortunately, the biggest challenge always will be with the smaller teams is to be able to keep those players because of money. The players tends to go to your big four, which is, of course, Western Province, Northern Transvaal, Sharks, and the Lions. So and even Cheetah struggles. Your smaller teams always seems to struggle out when it comes to that. But nonetheless, Griquas and Pumas are in the Currie Cup. They are playing outstanding rugby, and Griquas won the Currie Cup last year, and we all know Pumas won the Currie Cup 2 years back, 2 to 3
Yeah.
years back.
Then Western Province, Griffins, 52-33 to Western Province.
That, of course, is the second team of Western Province. Western Province had a unique system where they actually send the two teams to the Craven Week. Not only to the academy, never mind the academy week,
Yeah.
they send the two teams to the Craven Week. That's how strong the depth in Western Province rugby is. We all know about the Paul schools. We all know about Paul Ruiz. We all know about Weinberg, Sachs, Bishops. There's an incredible amount of talent, and it's no wonder why Western Province right now are dominating the school section in South Africa and why they are the number one junior team in schools team in South Africa.
Yeah.
Incredible. And that's the second team that has beaten the Griffins 52-33.
Yeah. And then this was also a good game. The Golden Lions and
That
the
was for me one of the games of the tournament, Louis. And I'm not saying that just because I'm a Blue Ball, I'm a Lions supporter.
Mm.
I'm saying it because it was an incredible game.
Yeah.
Nobody gave the Lions a chance.
No.
The majority of the spectators were supporting the Blue Bulls.
Yes.
And a huge standout player for that game was, of course, Viljoen.
Yeah.
Cool-headed. I think he was player of the match in that, if I'm not mistaken, in that match. And that really set the Lions up for maybe a possible finals for the Craven Week.
Yes. And also with this game, as you said, because we know as well with all these schools from the Blue Bulls, Offies, Waterkloof, Menlo Park, Garsfontein, all the guys that have been doing very well this season, and they've been competitive under each other as well, to go and beat the Blue Bulls. That was quite amazing because
Yeah.
In my opinion, from what I've seen, the Golden Lions side for this year's Craven Week was probably the most diverse team regarding school-wise. It wasn't just one or two schools that were
Yeah.
concentrated on. It was quite diverse, and that was
Yeah.
quite nice to see.
Yeah, no, it was an incredible result. And of course, a lot of Mona's players played for the Lions.
Yes.
But of course, as I said, the huge standout player for me and the player that made the biggest impression for me from the Golden Lions was, of course, the flyer of Falloon. And I
Yeah.
think we're going to hear a lot from him. He's going to the Blue Ball Academy next year, and we're going to hear a lot from him. Remember the name, Falloon.
Yeah. Then Uh, Leopards 57, Limpopo Blue Bulls 14. Um, I watched this game and actually I felt a little bit sorry for the Limpopo Blue Bulls because
Mm.
there were glimpses in all of their games where they actually wanted to play, and you can see they can play, but I think purely because of the depth, they weren't able to be as competitive as they would have liked.
You know what I say about a wounded animal? Remember
Hmm.
the Leopards lost against Boland in the first day. So they
Hmm.
actually came out with a mission they wanted. And not only did they want to win, they wanted to win with a clinical performance. And they sure did.
Yeah.
They desperately needed that win
Hmm.
after losing out to Boland in the first match.
Yeah. Then Eastern Province 32, Bulan 31. Oh, thank goodness I didn't watch this game.
Yeah, that was a humdinger. Also a must win for Eastern Province.
Right?
And of course, Boland won against the Leopards, and Eastern Province lost out against Western Province. So they desperately needed that win.
Yeah.
And that was a humdinger, cliffhanger of a match. Went all
Hmm.
the way.
Right. Then let's see, Free State and SVD. So Free State 38, SVD 26. This
And that
was
also set
also,
up Free State for us for the finals. I was actually quite surprised that they missed out on the finals because I
yes,
personally felt Free State should have been in the finals.
yeah,
They were incredibly unlucky not to make the finals.
I would agree with you because they, together with Western Province, were the only unbeaten sides during the course of the Craven Week.
Yeah.
So, um,
And of course, the Western Province 15.
yeah. So, and now this game.
Yeah,
Mm.
that was the most spoken game of the tournament. And as you
Yes.
said, it was discipline that let the Sharks down, and you could
There.
see the emotions. The players after the match was absolutely gutted. The
Yeah.
captain was incredibly emotional. The players were emotional,
Yeah.
but the Sharks on the day were the biggest enemy, and it was discipline that cost them the game. That was the difference between a final between the Western Province being in the finals and the Sharks being in the finals.
Correct. And with this game, it was such a good game, but the discipline of the Sharks let them down.
Yeah,
And
I know it was heartbreaking. I felt for the boys. I truly did, but it's a good lesson for them. And we
no,
can only hope that they will take it forward. And I can guarantee you that the coach had its incredible stern words with the players, and they will definitely take the lessons forward
yeah,
and apply it in their lives.
oh yes,
Once again, it shows you. We saw it in the Global Nations tournament this weekend. What a huge difference disciplines makes. And normally the players, the teams that lost, they cool. It's normally the teams that always lose in the
oh
end.
yes, oh yes, oh yes. So then the Griffins 29, Falker 12. Pumas 54, Border 14. Oh, that's a good result actually for the Pumas, right? To come
Yeah,
out.
no, that was a huge win for the Pumas.
Mm.
It was a pretty one-sided match, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's obviously the score says it. So yeah,
Right. And then Now, this is an interesting result. The Blue Bulls 59, Griquas 19. So I think after the loss against the Lions, the Blue Bulls really needed or wanted to prove themselves, and they did a very good job at that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. The Blue Bulls, the loss against the Lions was also a deciding factor for them. But
Mm,
look at the next game, Louis. And that was also a very spoken about because I think that was what determined the final setup. Western Province 15 against the Lions. If the Lions won that game, the
yes.
Lions could really. There was no ways that Western Province 15 would have been in the finals. And the
Uh,
Lions had their opportunities, they had their chances.
yes.
But right in the end, the Western Province 15 pulled the match through. And remember, that's the second team of
Yes.
Western Province beating the
Yes.
Lions first team.
Yeah. So very, very interesting. Then, hmm, ah, look at this. Look at the scores, right?
And that
Blue,
was Saturday's games. And
yeah.
now we look at the teams. Remember, it's an unofficial final. So on the final
Yes.
day, they basically, well, this is still day four.
Mm,
Sorry. But no, this is on Saturday. So this is actually, in fact, day five. But
yeah.
anyways, on the final day, they basically select the teams that were the standout teams, and then they also have an unofficial final to
Yes.
finish off the tournament. And of
Yes.
course, Blue Bulls and Cheetahs were standout teams.
Mm.
Cheetahs desperately unlucky not to have made the finals. I would have selected the Cheetahs to make the finals
I
for
I
a
would
lot
agree
of
with
reasons.
you on that one. Yes.
But we will talk about it because
Mm.
I, for example, think it was incredibly controversial, the final selections for the finals. But we will talk about it. But Blue Bulls, at the end of the day, just managed to snatch a victory against the Cheetahs, 30-29.
Mm.
And then the next game, Sharks against Lions, and once again shows you how telling that game that was for the Sharks against Western Province because they
Yeah.
managed to beat a strong Lions team.
Yeah.
Also, cliffhanger 31-30, but the Sharks, if it wasn't for the Western Province game, they could have been in the finals.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
And now
Now
that's
to
for me is the discussion point, Louis. The
yes.
logic. Well, first of all, okay, I can understand maybe sending a first team and a second team to Craven, but the logic of selecting a first team and a second team for the finals. Even the commentators said that Safu said before the time that they're not going to do it because it's not advisable. But then they still did it, and it boggles my mind because it takes away all the atmosphere for the finals
Yeah.
because it's basically what they are saying is Western Province are playing against themselves in the finals. And, to have a first team and a second team play against one another in the final is never a good idea.
No.
It just takes away the glamour of the final
Yeah.
and the interest and the excitement because there's nothing exciting because at the end of the day, no matter what the result is, Western Province is going to win.
Yeah.
So what is the
Exactly.
logic? And I would like to know what is the viewers' view on that? I know I'm very outspoken about it, but I would also like to know what the viewers' view is about this, Louis.
Yeah. That would actually be very interesting, and we would love the viewers to comment underneath to tell us what they were thinking. And be blunt about it. It's fine.
Yes.
We don't really worry because for me as well, as you've said, play your first team against the second team. And what about the other teams? The Blue Bulls, the Lions, the Cheetahs, that were much better sides that were also actually deserved a chance in the final. Now, again, and I'm very sorry to say this, but I'm going to be very controversial on this one. Now, what's going to happen? We know most of the Western Province schools are in the top 10, in the top 20. And it's going to put a chip on their shoulder where they're going to
Mm,
think they are better than everyone else. And oh yes, look, we played in the final against ourselves. I mean, really? So how can you compare yourself to see if you are really that good if you play A versus B? Really? I mean, where's the logic? So I really
My
hope.
final say on this, Matt, and please, the Western Province people mustn't kill me because I'm going. I need to go to Western to the Cape on the 6th of August for the school game for the derby. But
Yeah.
it creates, for me, it creates a monopoly situation in South African rugby if they have a situation where two Western Province teams are playing in the final. And for me, that's not a healthy situation.
Mm.
But at the end of the day, let's also be fair. They were the only two teams that was unbeaten in the entire tournament,
Mm.
besides Free State.
Yeah.
So they were probably the two best teams to play against one another, even though it's both Western Province.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Right. So now we come to the SA school side. Now, as we can see here, quite a big selection.
Yeah.
So Matthew Prince, Clement, Matleke, then Sharks. Now, this is very interesting. Two from the Sharks, one Blue Bull, one SWV as props. And then hookers, also from the Sharks. Again, two Sharks. Interesting, right?
Of course, they selected a bigger squad because not only did they play against the SA School second team, they're also going to play a couple of matches later on,
Yes.
international matches against, I think, your New Zealand schools again, and I'm not quite sure the other teams that's
Yeah.
going to come to South Africa. So they've selected the bigger squad, forwards and backs,
Mm.
for not for just for the SA School derby in mind, but also for the other the international matches in mind.
Yeah. Then the loose forwards, Ndlovu, Van der Vyver, Wimble, De Villiers from Oakdale, and then the backs. Now, Boyser from Western Province, yes. Doyle, also from the Eastern Province. I really do believe they were the two best scrum halves, so kudos to that. And Travis Pfeiffer, what
Yeah.
an
Remember the
amazing
name
player.
I said, Bearding, that was mentioned a lot?
Yes,
He was selected for the SA schools and
yes.
deservedly so, because he
Yeah.
was the main architect of the Western Province team, the
Oh,
entire
yes.
Craven.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree with you. And also the way he managed the games, um, it was excellent. You can see he's cool-headed. He knows what he's doing. So, um, and if he's going to take up rugby as a career, we will have to see, and then see where he lands up eventually,
Yeah.
right?
Absolutely. Just for time purposes, I'm just quickly going to run through the other players.
Right.
Kosani from the Sharks, Evan Barker, Aaron Nelson, and Tian Basson. I was actually quite surprised that Mabena didn't make the SA schools. I'm not sure
Yes.
if he made the second team, but
Mm.
Mabena for me was also a standout player. So I was a bit surprised that he wasn't there.
Yeah.
Coming to the outside and utility backs, Nkutu Kepi, Mugetsi, of course, no surprise. He selected himself the entire year. He was an absolute class player.
Mm.
Even Van Viljoen also had an incredible, from the Stellenberg school, had an incredible training week. And then Lukulu, Songon Kunu, sorry if I've pronounced it wrong, from Westville, also making up as part of the backs.
Yeah. So this is the SA school side. If you want to run us through, Steve.
Yes. A lot of I see Paul Boys High, Max Milan, JV Kutsia, Pride and Sabaya from the Sharks, and then of course the Hookers, Carl Els, Charles Whitehead, Locks, Banner de Brain from Paul Roos, Ako Tonjeni. Once again, if I'm pronouncing it, I need to work on my pronunciation, from Grain College. Martin van Niekerk from the Blue Bulls also had a very, very good training week. And then Sibisile Marule from the Pumas, Hendrey van Zyl, Paul Genasian, Lunaku Melu Makulu from Ronnebos, Neil Darant, and Luniku Marivate from Eastern Province Kingswood College. Scrum
Yes.
half, Shane Lawrence, Ruva Gon Hendricks, and then of course Ruan Flux from the Blue Bulls also had an outstanding training week. Also a very exciting fly halves. Depth in South Africa for fly halves is absolutely unreal. Jaden Viljoen I think was unlucky not to have made the SA Schools first team.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, he's in the SA School A teams and he's going to the Blue Ball Academy next year. So we're going to hear a lot from him. Alex Jankovic from the Sharks, making up the centers, Ruan Roo and Nathan Anneke. And then your backs, utility backs, Aneshu Kujinye from the Sharks, Ruan Genis and Ranzu Makabela from the Pumas, Driven Baron from the Blue Bulls, and Amugilang Matubegi from the Sharks. As I said, the names are sometimes quite a challenge to pronounce, but I will work on that. Right. So please forgive me. But it's exciting to see the depth and all these players. You know, I've watched the Grand Week, and you know it's incredible the standard of schools rugby in South Africa. So it actually set up an incredible, exciting match between SA Schools and SA Schools A. And there's a reason why I said some of these players were unlucky. You will see in the result why I said some of them were unlucky not to make the SA Schools team. Yeah. And now we come to the historic moment. For time purposes, we're not really going to call out the names. We're going to show you the names. Yeah. But this was, for me, incredibly historic, this match. The SA Schools versus the SA Schools A team. Yeah. First time ever in South Africa rugby. First time ever that we had a Girls Week, and the first time ever that we had a SA Schools team. Yeah. That for me is incredible. I'm so excited for the future of women's rugby in South Africa.
And it was a double header because they played just before the SA Schools side. So the SA Schools girls beat the SAA side 31-17. And then we come to this. Now, this was also a big talking point.
Yes.
What an absolute cracker of a game. And in the dying seconds, they snubbed the victory. So
incredible. And this is the second team beating the first team, SA Schools. And that's why I say there's a lot of the second team players that can count themselves incredibly unlucky not to have made the SA Schools team.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, both of them are going to play against international schools, international teams later in the season, SA Schools and the SA Schools A team. So at the end of the day, they're still going to get the exposure. And it just makes it such an incredible, exciting setup for South Africa, the future of South African rugby, especially bearing in mind that our under 20 South African team has won the World Championship again for the second year, back to back. Huge congratulations to our SA under 20 team. I am so excited about the future of South Africa rugby, and it's not. I'm trying to be unbiased. And not to be biased by saying it, but the future and the depth of South African rugby is in incredible hands.
Yeah. Oh, yes, I agree.
And that was, of course, the conclusion of our Craven Week. And of course, it was holidays, but it's almost time for schools rugby to resume again, Louis. I believe this Saturday we're going to have a couple of games.
So the Verseker Beker will continue this Saturday. So there are a couple of games like Eche Janssen, some of the big names are playing this weekend. So brilliant. As the schools will start in this week as well. So I think it's just fitting after the long break that we will be able to watch Schoolboy rugby again until the next holiday. So we are in for a couple of exciting weeks, and the Verseker Beker that's at stake at this stage. So it's more or less halfway through the competition. So still all to play for.
All to play for. Schools rugby still, we're now halfway, almost, I think we passed halfway, the halfway stage. We're getting now to the closing few weeks. Of course, in 2 weeks' time, I'll be traveling to Cape Town for the big derby between Bellville and DF Milan. So please stay tuned. We are planning to have live recordings with the coaches, God willing, and we are planning to have a live update and live videos on the day itself. I'll be joined by my fellow local cameraman for the day, Dion Jansen from Rensburg. His kids, of course, are in the school. So I'm looking forward to that trip. But this week, school rugby starts again until right through until September.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the 15th of August, I'll be in Cape Town for the big derby. And, of course, also on that same day will be the Verseker World Trophy final, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So still a lot of rugby left, jam-packed blockbuster games. And the race for the number 1 ranking in South Africa, school rugby, is still on. Who's going to be finishing it on top? Thank you once again. We are coming to the conclusion of our episode.
Yeah.
First of all, I would like to give a huge shout out, as always, to our community. Louis, can you believe it? We are approaching the 2,400 members mark.
Sure.
Absolutely
amazing,
incredible.
right?
We are standing right now on the day of recording. We are standing on 2,375 members on our Facebook group.
Sure.
Absolutely amazing. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate the response and the support from our community for our project and what we are doing. The coaches, the interviews we've had some incredible interviews with players, coaches, schoolboys. It's been amazing, and I can only say a huge thank you and a huge shout out to our community. Of course, if you haven't joined our community, please join our community. We are on Facebook under Global School Rugby Bonanza, as well as on YouTube under Global School Rugby Bonanza. You can also catch up on all our episodes, our podcast episodes. We are now on episode 39. If you haven't seen our previous episodes and you would love to have a bit of a marathon and catch up, it's going to take you a couple of days. But you can catch up on all our episodes on our YouTube channel and even on our Facebook group. You just go to the feature sections and you can catch up on our previous episodes, as well as our online magazine. All the links of our previous 6 magazines editions are on our Facebook group. You can just go to our feature section and you will find the link there. And then, of course, we're also on different platforms. We also have got a WhatsApp channel, as well as an Instagram channel, and then we also on TikTok, but under a different name, Schoolboy Global Rugby Bonanza for now. And then, of course, we also would like to say thank you to our staff that's working so hard behind the scenes, all voluntarily. We are still non-profit for now. So we are doing it for the love and the passion of Schoolboy Rugby. Huge shout out to our fellow leaders. First of all, to Elaine Hogan, our international leader, all the way from Limerick Island. Elaine Hogan, thank you so much for your marketing, your promotion, and your passion. She's also part of the Facebook leaders group, as well as the interview panel. And in our new season, that's going to be on revamp later on. Please keep an eye. She's also going to be playing. Elaine Hogan's also going to be playing a more prominent role there. So check the space. Of course, also a huge shout out to our journalist, Mr. Arlu. Thank you so much. He's also part of our interview channel, and he's, of course, in charge of the online magazine with you, Louis. He's been running the online magazine together with Louis, which has also been a huge success. So thank you so much to Arnu. And then, of course, we would like to say a huge shout out to Louis' wife, Sarah van Copenhagen, for her work behind the scenes for the layout of the magazine, and also making sure that the deadlines are met. Thank you so much to Sarah van Copenhagen. She's, of course, all the way from China. And it's I always say she's our number 1 Chinese supporter when it comes to rugby. Huge shout out to Sarah. Yeah. And then, of course, I would like to give a huge shout out also to our Featured Games on the Field panel, that also the presenters panel that always goes on to the matches with Louis van Copenhagen. Huge shout out to our cameraman, Brian Dudley. He has been present at almost every single featured game as our cameraman. Without the cameraman, we won't be able to bring the visuals. So thank you so much. It relieves a huge amount of pressure for myself and Louis. So thank you so much for Brian Dudley. And then, of course, also to our fellow presenter on the featured games, the madman, Mr. Von, that's always at the featured games as the fellow presenter. Growing from strength to strength, passionate. I love the man. Thank you so much to Mr. Von. And then, of course, to all your viewers, all the members on all our communities, thank you so much for your support. You guys are champions, and we cannot do this show without you. That is it. Thank you so much once again. Please join us for our next episode, where we will be discussing, of course, the games of the weekend next week. And then from then on in, we will be much more regularly on. Again, we will go to our usual space, 2 episodes per week, and we will be back in action with you. So from our side, until next week, enjoy the rugby, enjoy the Currie Cup rugby, enjoy the school rugby if you're at the venues. From our side and from Louis, it's goodbye.
Goodbye.